Okay guys, I'm going to quickly do a quick video here on a topic I get asked a lot about, and something I'm actually having to deal with right now is how to deal with injury while you're on a fitness plan or trainer or whatever it be. So right now what's happened is today I was training shoulders. I'm doing one of my recording sessions. When I was doing shoulder press, I don't know what happened. We're going for the exercise. It looks like I twitched a little bit. I'm just looking because I was at the point of failure just to get another rep out, and I pulled my trap and my rear delt. So I'm in quite a bit of pain. So what I had to do was actually stop my recording session. The pain was that much that I knew I had to stop. So that's one of the first things you need to do, is assess whether it's something minor or something that will actually, you have to stop your workout with. Training through an injury, it doesn't make you a man. I've done that before, and that's led to acute issues becoming chronic. For example, my rotator cuff, I injured it many years ago. At the time I was really new to fitness, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to soldier on, I'm going to get this done and dusted, go. And that acute issue is now chronic. I have issue with my rotator cuff all the way now. It's been like 5 something years. So now I'm a lot smarter at my approach. So first thing is to stop training. Yeah, you heard me, get your ass out of there. So for me, I had to drive home, and driving home with this pain shooting through my neck and my trap, absolute nightmare. Second thing, you want to think, what the hell? You need to calm down a little bit. With me, the second app, I was so frustrated. I was like cursing, fuck's sake! Why does all this shit happen to me? Fuck! Trust me, I was going through that whole scenario. But the problem is you need to keep yourself calm, because what's happening is you're elevating your stress hormones, your cortisol level, your adrenaline. These are things you don't want to aggravate too much when you're dealing with an injury, because your body needs to deal with it. So what I've done is utilize the RICE technique: rest, ice, elevation, compression. So at the moment, I'll show you this. I've got a ice pack in a cloth. Remember, ice packs, you don't put this directly on your skin. You've got to make sure there's a cloth protecting your skin, otherwise you're going to end up with blisters. So I've got this over my the area. So for me, it's rear delts / traps on the left side is the issue. So this what the ice will do is help deflame the area, so it'll act as an anti-inflammatory. Second thing is I actually have taken an anti-inflammatory. I've taken 2 ibuprofens. So for you guys and girls, it depends. For me, I only utilize anti-inflammatory painkillers only in scenarios like this. I don't tend to use them if it's like a general illness, like a virus or something. I tend to soldier on, but I've taken 2. So it's 400 milligrams of ibuprofen. I'm going to now ice for 20 minutes at least, and then I'll rest and ice again for another 20. What we're going to do first, 24 hours, what icing. We're not going to use the heat technique, not yet. What I'll do tomorrow is I'll fluctuate between icing and warm. So I use a hot water bottle and ice, hot water bottle and ice. When it comes to your training, you're just going to have to hold off for now. When it comes to your nutrition, just keep an eye on it. With injuries like this, you can get really stressful, and you can see yourself eating more. I've done it before. I've had severe injuries, and I've put on a lot of weight. So it's something that you got to be a little bit cautious of. Try to avoid any inflammatory foods, stuff like chili, for example. It's great for burning fat, yes, but at the same time it has inflammatory properties as well. There's natural anti-inflammatory foods as well. Stuff like olive oil has its own anti-inflammatory properties. So it's something, if you can incorporate in your diet, that's going to always benefit you guys and girls as well. Of course, rest is very important. So for me, we were at the end of recording one of our video series when this happened, which is an absolute nightmare. Very bad timing. I just come back from an illness, so for me this is just like another kick in the dick. No, I really didn't need this, but it's happened, and I've had my little bitch fit. Now I'm just trying to look at how I can fix this up. So I'm going to be very cautious. I've already noticed there's a limited range of motion in my neck. That tells me the inflammation is going along the trapezius as well as the connecting muscles too. So it just means you've got to be a little bit careful. Main focus now is just to rest it. I tried stretching prior icing, a little bit of foam rolling prior icing, just to help relax the muscle before I ice to de-inflame. And yeah, so what the protocol is going to be now until I go to bed is I'll ice for 20 minutes, leave it for an hour, maybe 2, then ice again for 20 minutes, leave for an hour or 2, ice again for 20 minutes, just so it can relax. And when I go to bed, I will make sure I support my neck, just to allow it, the opportunity to stay in a relaxed position and allow the body to do what it needs to do. Come tomorrow, that's when I'll introduce the hot and cold treatment. So guys and girls, if you get an injury, first of all, it's not the end of the world. Don't overly panic. Don't get super stressed. I know I'm dealing with it right now. And yes, there's a tendency to panic. Like for me, like I said, I was freaking raged at one point. I was turned into freaking Incredible Hulk with an injury. But now I'm feeling a lot calmer. I've just had something to eat. For me, I had to stop my workout halfway through, and I had to stop filming. So it was really an inconvenience for me. So what I did, because it wasn't a full workout, I didn't have my protein drink. Instead, I had a solid meal. Which had my protein and my carbs in there, so that's what I did instead. So for now, for me, I'm just going to try to avoid any inflammatory properties, stuff like I mentioned, like chili, stuff like caffeine as well. You got to avoid caffeine. Caffeine's a bit of a stimulant too, as well as an inflammatory. Yes, it's great for burning fat. Yes, it's great for training, but when you're dealing with injury, just let your body deal with what it needs to do. You don't overly tax it. You don't want anything minor to turn into a major problem. Yes, it will slow you down a little bit. And even for me, it's going to throw a wrench and spanner to our filming schedule. But, there's not much I can do about it. The more I think about it, the more it just frustrates me, the more I get agitated. More likely I'm going to do something stupid. So instead, I'm just trying to keep a cool head as possible and just go through the process. We understand the biology of the body. So by helping the body out to deal with this injury, we're more likely to get out of it quicker, and when we bounce back, then we can take this bottle up frustration, agitation, use it in a positive fashion. Anyhow, guys, so that's a quick little video for me about dealing with injuries and what you need to do. So number one, get your ass out of the gym if it's something that's severe enough, and there's pain and restriction in mobility. And we're talking about a different type of pain from the pump, the burn sensation. That's one thing. If it's evident in joints, if it's a sharp pain, mine was a tight kind of pain shooting along the muscle, that told me no, time to stop. Otherwise, you'll aggravate it. Then we use the RICE protocol: rest, ice, elevation, compression. Obviously, I did that in the wrong order because I'm absolutely out of it right now. So it's rest, ice, compression, elevation. Yeah, that's the order. The RICE technique. For the first 24 hours, ice, and then tomorrow, what I'll be doing is ice and warm. Tomorrow, I'll probably use some of the warm balm as well. You can get balms that cause the air to warm up again. It's dependent. Some studies say they're not too good to use. Other studies say, yeah, they're great. And of course, the marketers and the guy selling this shit, I'm going to tell you, it's the bee's knees. All I can suggest is, give it a try, see how your body responds to it. If it doesn't respond well, that's something now that this something doesn't work for you. Coming from a traditional Asian family, these kind of heat bombs we tend to use quite a bit. So I know my body will respond to it. Okay. So for you guys and girls, it's just one way to test the waters. Anyhow, so for now, all I can say is keep positive, rest it, go through the RICE technique, and then slowly assess until you get your range of motion back. When there's no pain, that's when you need to return to training. Don't prematurely get back to training and cause this acute issue to become chronic. That's a big no-no. Anyhow, besides that, I can sympathize with you guys and girls. I've had so many injuries throughout my just life, and then going into the fitness thing, it's not nice. I get it. It really does. It's something you don't need, especially when you're in fitness. It's like you're doing something really positive. It's not like you're fucking about. You're out there doing dumb shit. You're doing something good. You're bettering yourself, and what do you get for it? You get a fucking injury. And then you have to deal with all this pain and suffering, but the reality is it's part of it. It'll help develop character. At least we can take something positive from it rather than just letting it win. As you can see, I'm a little bit out of it. I've just taken painkillers just halfway through a workout, and I've just had the biggest bitch fit before coming on camera. Just because I was so agitated, but I'm obviously a lot more calmer now, and now I can think straight. And then we can come up with a strategy. So that's my strategy, and hopefully that'll help you guys and girls out there as well. All I can say is be strong. It will end. Don't worry. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel. It may delay you. For me, it's thrown a spanner in the work for our whole filming schedule. But I don't want to focus on that too much. Same for you guys and girls. Just be patient with yourself, with your body. Let it do what it needs to do, and then we'll bounce back like motherfuckers. Anyhow, guys, hopefully this video helped. I know it's very basic, but sometimes you need to just do basic things. You don't want to overcomplicate something, but that's the protocol you guys and girls can utilize just to help out with the injury. Stay strong, and as always, if you ever need any advice, tips, or videos, do subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and if you need any tips or advice directly, leave it in the comments, and I'll answer it to the best of my abilities. So I'll catch you guys and girls around. Fingers crossed this thing will sort itself out. And what I'll probably do is I'll do an update video later in the week or even tomorrow, just to explain to you guys and girls the process. So see you all then. Peace.
Yeah.